And on the third day, December the 22nd, Patton pivots his men to the north towards Bastogne on the snow-covered roads of the Ardennes. December the 22nd, Patton is blocked by a snowstorm. Exasperated, he orders his chaplain to compose a special prayer for a change in the weather, saying, "Get God on our side," which the Allied airmen fully endorse. They've been grounded by bad weather since the start of the offensive. December the 22nd, in Bastogne, the paratroopers are still holding out after 3 days and nights of bitter fighting. In the morning, the front is calm for the first time under the snowstorm. But it's an uneasy calm. The night before, the paratroopers learned that Saint-Vite, the other point of resistance, has fallen. From now on, they are alone, completely alone and surrounded. All morning, the reconnaissance patrols look for the key. What are the Germans planning? They are there, all around, 5 divisions now. There can be no illusions. Unless there's a miracle, the paratroopers must die in defense of Bastogne. At midday, a patrol brings in 2 German officers to the divisional command post. They carry an ultimatum. They've arrived at the wrong moment. General McAuliffe was in command of the paratroopers.
They said, "We have a surrender demand from the German commander." And they handed me the paper, 1 copy in English, 1 in German. I took the English copy and read it. And after I read it, I just said, "Nuts." So they went out and typed it up to the German commander, "Nuts," signed the American commander. And Colonel Harper, who had brought in the surrender demand, took that message back to the Germans and handed it to them and took them back to the outpost line. The German colonel said, If this reply is favorable, I have authority to conduct further negotiations having to do with the surrender." And Harper said, "The reply is not favorable. It consists of the single word 'nuts.'" The German said, "I understand English, but I don't understand nuts in this connotation." Harper says, "It means the same as go to hell. Do you understand that?" And the German says, "Yes, I do."
December the 22nd, fateful day for the Germans. Bastogne is still resisting. Hitler hasn't foreseen that. Von Rundstedt was given 3 days to succeed in his offensive, and he's already 3 days late. The plan has miscarried. While 3 German divisions besiege Bastogne, 2 armored divisions, the 2nd Panzer and the Panzer Lehr, attack again in the west towards the River Meuse, and there's a further advance, 40 miles in 2 days. On December the 24th, the leading troops of Lieutenant von Zermühlen clashed with the British outside Roquefort.
I decided to attack there. My friend, who was commanding another group, was to attack on the other side, on my signal. I attacked. I sent up a rocket, but the others didn't come. I had to stop.
What happened?
Afterwards, I found my friend again. He told me that he had got bogged down in the mud. But long afterwards, he confessed to me that he'd been scared. He was afraid of the anti-tank guns, like those we'd seen in Russia.
What did you think of that?
I found it normal and human. He's still my friend.
The Panzer Lehr Division won't get further than this bridge. Their hearts are no longer in it. It's been a long road from Moscow to Bastogne.
Il y a une chose que nous refusions absolument.
There's one thing we refused absolutely. That was to learn the names of the new officers. One didn't want to speak to them, to have a personal relationship, to start a friendship, because one knew that these young people, these very young people, without experience, had no chance of survival. It was best not to know them.
Il valait mieux pas les connaître.
So we old veterans kept to ourselves.
How old were you?
20.
The next day is Christmas Day, a sad Christmas. For the English and Canadians, it's a truce. Time for a cup of tea. For the besieged defenders of Bastogne, this Christmas, the artillery pounding is the worst of the siege. For the Germans this Christmas, a cigarette, an American cigarette.
No one had slept since December the 15th. We were able to rest on Christmas night. But the next day, there was a change in the weather. On the morning of December the 25th, the sky was a clear blue, not a cloud, and immediately the American Air Force attacked. It was absolutely terrible.
Von Rundstedt had told Hitler, everything depends on the Air Force. He wasn't mistaken. For the defenders of Bastogne, it's just in time. They have no more shells and are on emergency rations when at last they see the waves of Dakotas. By the end of the next day, December the 26th, the advance guard of Patton's Armored Division, commanded by Colonel Crichton Abrams, breaks through the German circle and enters Bastogne.